Hannah Heeter was a dual sport athlete at Clarion, and by the time she was finished, she was one of the all-time greats in both volleyball and women's basketball. She was an all-region player, an all-conference player, and won some of the top academic awards in the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Hannah Heeter. Thank you. Well, similar to Tammy's story, I guess, you were the youngest of 5 growing up in a house full of brothers. What was that like?
Oh, it was a lot. I have 2 here tonight, and let me tell you, I'm taller than both of them, so that's not why I was good at sports. But I will say, so whenever you're one of 5 and you're the youngest, you get a little selfish, and you're the only girl, come on. So I kind of took my liberties with that, and I think that's kind of why I got good at sports, let's be honest, because it's my ball. If there's a rebound, it's mine. I'm not gonna let my brother beat me. They're gonna pick on me about it, you know what I mean? So there's also the whole growing up with like my parents making sure we're keeping it together. You know, we've gotta be on time. I was always on time. I get anxious about time. I'm never late for a practice. Come on, are you kidding me? I'm 30 minutes early. And then I also, I also feel like my childhood, I guess, made me very, very competitive. So that's where we're at with that.
But now let's talk about the recruiting process, because for some, why are you rolling your eyes? You just got
I'm
up
ready.
here. Okay. So despite this competitiveness and despite, you know, all the athletic accomplishments you ended up having in hindsight, you weren't heavily recruited coming out of high school, is that correct?
Very accurate. So I was really only recruited by 2 people. My girl, Coach Jen, and she tried really hard for, what, like a year, we determined? Yeah. I was playing hard to get. You know, this is what it comes down to, is whenever you play 2 sports and you're like decently good at them and no one's really recruiting you, you're like, am I good enough? And so the only person really recruiting me was this one wild lady that I love so much, and I was like, there's something going on here, you know what I mean? Like, there's no way I'm this good. And so you kind of get in your own head, and then you're making this big decision as a 17, 18-year-old, and you're like, I'm gonna go to college. I have to choose where I'm going for 4 years. I'm choosing the rest of my life, my career, my everything. And then I also have this other decision of basketball versus volleyball, 2 things that I was very passionate about in high school. And no one wants me for them, and so I'm like, what do I do? And it just turns out that I went with my gut, and I went with the girl who was riding for me, pushing me, and basically gassing me up whenever she was like, you're better at basketball, but come play for me. And so I was like, okay, let's go. So yeah, that was my recruiting process.
So you step onto campus and you're immediately on one of the best volleyball teams in program history. You go to the Elite 8. Have you had a chance to reflect on those successes and the fact that you're literally part of Clarion history in that sense?
Yeah, of course. Come on.
You're right, dumb question.
I know, I'm sorry. No, so, okay, there was something very special about my team, and whenever I stepped onto campus as like a freshman, I was, you know, you're tall, gangly, well, not gangly, well, I won't say that, but I was tall, and I was just like awkward, and I walked into this room of just like confident women who were just goofy and just silly all the time, and I was like, I want to be like them. And so I literally, like, I feel like my freshman year was just like groundbreaking. I was just like, these women took me under their wing and just became besties with me. And then also, I love my coach, another shout out, Jen, because I have never been part of a team that was just like, I don't care how goofy you are before a game, just as long as you play. And like, she just let us do, you would see our warm-ups and be like, what is going on? Are they at like a family reunion? This doesn't make any sense. And it loosened us up, and it was amazing. And I think that's one of the greatest things about you, is that is that she just like understands that you have to let your players be who they are, and just whatever gets them in the mood, and that was for us what it was. And I loved it, and I love you.
So you started out with volleyball, but you ended up as a 2-sport athlete playing basketball. How did you end up on the basketball team?
Well, as Tammy was saying, you got bored and you were like, oh, I've got to do like other stuff. She was doing like flag football and stuff. Well, me and my other teammate on the volleyball team decided to play rec basketball because, you know, I missed it. It's been like a year or so. And so I was like, oh, let's play. And she's like, oh, yeah, let's do it. So we got a group of girls. We're going. And the men's basketball team and some other people reffed it. And they were like, oh, this girl's like actually kind of good. And so next thing I know, like, we're talking about me playing basketball. And I'm like begging my volleyball coach, or is this like, can we do this? And she's like, oh, my God, yeah, of course. Sort of. I mean, she was nervous because there's a lot of logistical problems because volleyball's, you know, a fall sport, and then basketball's a winter sport. So it's like when we're in playoffs, which, you know, volleyball team, shouts out, we were good. Girls in the back, I'm talking to you. And, you know, you just like don't know how that's going to work because I missed the whole preseason. And I'll tell you what, my first game as I guess freshman for basketball, but sophomore year, I legitimately airballed 2 balls, and I was like, they're never playing me again. Like, there's no way Gie's putting me back in the game. No way. And next thing I know, she's trusting me to 0 preseason, 0 anything, doesn't really know how I'm doing, and then she just puts me in, and I start working, and she's working with me, and honestly, I'm so thankful that she took a chance on me and that my coach took a chance on me. And if there's any legacy that I could like ever leave at Clarion, it's gonna make me a little emotional, sorry, is that ever since my coach Jen let me and my other teammate Amanda Goff play 2 sports at the same time and trusted us to keep our course load and all of that together, she has continually let girl after girl on her team do the same thing, and I feel like that's the most amazing thing I could have ever done for the program and for women, and prove that you can do multiple things. And I'm so grateful that I'm in a class of Hall of Fame right now that's majority of women, because it just makes me so freaking happy that we are out here doing it. Go women, all right?
Well, we've thanked Coach Jen about 15 times.
Hey, love you, Jen. Don't cry.
Is there anybody else in particular, Hannah, you would like to thank for this?
Well, the list can go on forever, but I want to first shout out all my girls in the back, my volleyball team. Love y'all. I want to shout out also, one of the main reasons why I decided to choose volleyball over basketball was my high school. She only coached me for a year, but I really think that she was the deciding factor on why I decided to play volleyball versus basketball, because it was the funnest season I've been a part of in my entire high school career. Like, she was honest, and that's another reason why I decided to come, is because I was like, I'm going after the fun coach. I'm going after the person that's passionate and whatever. So I'd like to thank Wendy McCain, love you. I'd also like to thank all my aunts and uncles. You know, I see y'all there, love y'all. And then also my 2 brothers, I guess. No, just kidding, I love y'all. And then my grandma for my height, she's 5'1", yes, I know, it's where I got it. And then of course my mom and dad, because without them, like, you think about what sets you apart, and you're like, how did I get as good as I am? And it's like, you think of like tenacity and all this stuff, right? But like, honestly, without the means and the support and the time from your parents, like, you couldn't make it anywhere. So I'm forever thankful for you guys. Love you. So yeah, that's who I'd like to thank.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hannah Heeter. Thank you.
Sorry, I was going off the rails.
You're fine. It's okay.